Hello, good day from wherever you're watching me. Good day to you. Welcome today. This is Choma Odikolo, and you're welcome to our Facebook Live. You're welcome to our book review. We had to just do it now, so we don't give excuses. We just have to do what we have to do. So you're all welcome. There'll be a replay link for us to catch our replays and watch and just listen to it. So today, without wasting much of our time, we'll go straight. Oh, I can see Mr. Henry Chuku. Thank you, sir, for joining us. Please drop a comment. Just say hello. Just let us know you're here. You're welcome, sir. Thank you very much. So we'll move straight right into our conversation of today. We're actually having our book review. We're going to have our book review briefly for like 10 minutes, and we're going to move to our weekly webinar for like 15 minutes, and we're going to try as much as we can to round off everything within 30 minutes. So without much conversation, let's just go straight right into our business of today. So we're having our book review, and we'll be reviewing this book, As a Man Thinketh. It's a wonderful book we've been reviewing. So today we're going to be reviewing 4 chapters. The first one we're going to be reviewing is the chapter on deed, character, and destiny. So what is the meaning of deed? Deed is an action that is performed intentionally. So deed is any action we perform intentionally or consciously. For example, when you say you're doing something good, you're doing something kind, it's something you just do intentionally or consciously. That is the meaning of deed. Then our character is the mental and the moral qualities that distinct us, the mental and the moral qualities that makes us to be different as individuals. That is our character. Then destiny is the events that will necessarily happen to a particular person. So the events that will necessarily happen to us in the future is our destiny. So why are we talking about deed, character, and destiny, and what is the relationship to us as parents? The relationship and what the writer is trying to say, that we as parents, we are responsible for our deed, we are responsible for our character, and we're responsible for our destiny. No other person is responsible for these for us. We are responsible for all these by ourselves. We are responsible for the things that go around us, the way we, the deeds we carry out, the actions we perform on a daily basis, our character, our moral qualities, everything we are built with, we are responsible. Even our destinies, we are also responsible, because a good number of times, a lot of us will say, oh, you're not responsible for your destiny, what will happen will happen. But the truth is that we as human beings, we as parents, in this scenario, or in our conversation of today, we're referring to ourselves, we're talking to us as parents. We are responsible for everything that happens around us. It all starts with the mind. We're responsible for what goes in our mind, because everything starts in the mind. Then the writer said something very profound. The writer said that we are the doers of our own deeds, we are the doers of our characters, and we are responsible for our destinies. We have the power to modify our deeds. We have the power as parents to modify our character, and we have the power to modify our destiny. So how can we modify our deed, our character, and our destiny? By the choices we choose on a daily basis, by the actions we take on a daily basis, by the decisions we make on a daily basis. So my question for us today is, what choices are you making on a daily basis? What decisions are you making on a daily basis? What are your choices? Because the truth is that our choices, our decisions, everything we do on a daily basis accumulates. It just adds up like a building block. It comes together to form who we are. It forms our destiny. Everything, our deed, our character, everything is as a result of our choices, as a result of what we think in our hearts, as a result of what we allow to go into our minds. And we can modify it. We can modify our destiny. No one else can modify our destinies for us as parents. Nobody can do it. It's not the responsibility of any other person. It's our responsibility. And it goes the same for our children. We can modify the destinies, the deeds, the character of our children with the knowledge we have, with what we know. Because we keep saying you can't pour from an empty cup. You can only pour into your child what you know. So the question is, what do we know? What level of information? What do we fill our minds with? What do we surround ourselves with? Do we fill our minds with thoughts that are empowering? Do we fill our minds with thoughts that will uplift us? Do we fill our minds with things that will help us to improve our deed on a daily basis, our character on a daily basis? And do we fill our minds with things that will help us to achieve our destinies, what we want to achieve? Because the truth is that we are responsible for everything that happens around us, and everything starts from the mind. So what are you allowing to go through your mind? What are you letting to come through your mind? And the truth is that a good number of times what we allow to come through our minds or in our minds is as a result of what we see, what we say, what we pay attention to, the voices we listen to, because voices are vehicles. So what are you listening to as a parent? What do you allow to come into your mind? Because everything we allow to come into our mind shape our character, our deeds, and our destiny. The next chapter we're going to look at briefly is the science of self-control. And in this chapter, the author of this book, as a man thinketh, was trying to explain the science of self-control. We won't go down into the science of self-control. We can all get the book and read. But what the writer was just trying to say is that self-control, we are responsible as parents for our self-control. No one else is responsible to control our emotions. No one else is responsible to control our thoughts. No one else is responsible to control our minds. We are responsible for ourselves. And it's best we are aware that we are responsible for ourselves and we start to take responsibility. A good number of times, we parents, we push the blame. We push the blame on our children. You say, oh, my child is making me to yell. My child is making me angry. My child is making me sad. But the truth is that that is not true. We choose our emotion. We choose to react the way we want to react. We choose to act in a particular way because we are under control. Everything is within our control as parents, as adults, as individuals. We are responsible for our self-control. And the writer said something that it starts with the mind. What we allow into the mind has a way of controlling us. So what do we allow to go through our minds? What are we allowing into our minds as parents? Because it has a way of affecting every other things we do. We are in control of our emotions. We are in control of our thoughts. Your child or your neighbor or your colleague is not responsible why you're angry. Your child or anybody around you is not responsible why you're sad or why you're yelling or why you're lashing out. We are responsible for our choices of the emotions we express per time. And we need to take responsibility for that. Because when we come to the fact that, okay, when we are aware and we begin to take responsibility for our emotions and the way we react, it will make us to start to seek ways we can do better. So we are in control. Self-control starts with the mind. Self-control starts with us. No one can control us. We as parents can control ourselves. No one can control what we think. We are responsible for our own control. So do we create the right environment? Do we create our minds? Do we put in the right things into our mind? Do we take care of our minds, our thoughts, such that it affects us positively? The truth is that we are in control. We're in control of every single thing that happens to us, because even the Bible says that God has given us power. Even God has given us choices to make. So no one has the power to control what happens around us. We are the ones in control, so we should make our choices right. Then the other part of the book we're going to review is the cause and effect of human conduct. So as I said, we are responsible for everything that happens around us. We as adults, we as parents, we as humans, we are responsible for everything that happens around. We have the power to act. We have the power to our choices. We have the power to our decisions. We have the power to do everything we do per time. We are responsible. So as parents, let's not feel powerless. Let's not feel like, oh my God, I don't have the power. I can't do this. I can't do that. Let's not feel powerless, because we are so powerful. In fact, God has given us the power. We are so powerful to take charge of our lives, to take charge and to help our children to grow to that human beings, or to grow to be that adult that God has created them to be. We are responsible for our conduct. We are responsible for everything that happens around us. When you think positive thoughts, it will come out as a positive action, you will definitely see the effect around you. And when we fill our thoughts with something negative and disempowering, we will definitely see it around us. So we are encouraged to make the right choice of what we allow to go into our minds. And obviously, we are all here to learn. So the point is that we should allow encouraging thoughts. We should allow uplifting thoughts. We should allow positive thoughts into our hearts, into our minds, because our thoughts it has a way of affecting everything around us. We are responsible for our thoughts. We are responsible for our choices, our everything. We are responsible. So we should take responsibility, of our thoughts and begin to do what we are expected to do. And there was something the writer said that I would like to point out. What we think as parents, that is what we're going to do. If you're happy, the emotion we express, whatever emotion we express inside of us, somehow it comes out to us. We are the source of everything we are going through. So sometimes when you say, "Oh my God, I don't even know who is doing me," sometimes some of us we say jokingly, "Oh, now village people they do me. I don't know who is doing me this." The truth is that this book just opened our minds to see that we are the source of everything we're going through. So if we're not doing well in our parenting, we are the source and we need to seek for solution. If we're not doing well in our careers, we are the source and we need to seek for help. If we're not doing well in our spiritual life, we are the source and we need to seek for help. If we're not doing well in any area of our life, we are the source. We are responsible for everything we are going through. All we need to do is to seek for help. All we need to do is to find solutions from the right persons, the right places, and to do what we are expected to do. Then the next chapter we'll be reviewing is training of the will, training of our will, training of our minds. And in summary, the writer left us with 7 things we can do to start to train our will as parents. So what are these things we can start to implement today to train our will? Number 1, we need to break off from bad habits. As parents, we are encouraged to break off from bad habits. Remember, the whole idea of this book reading, the whole idea of this community is that we want to renew ourselves as parents. We want to be better parents so we can raise world changers. And the truth is that the change starts from us. The change does not start from our children. Our first job and our first responsibility as parents is to grow. Our first responsibility is to learn, to continue to improve ourselves. The truth is that when we begin to work on ourselves, it will definitely trickle down to our children. So we should focus on us. And how can we begin to focus on us? Number 1, we need to break off from bad habits. So what are the bad habits we have? I have my own, you have yours. What are those bad habits we have that we need to break off from? One of the ways we can begin to control our life, to train our will, is to break off from bad habits. The second thing, we need to form good habits. When we remove, you need to replace. Like my coach will always say, you remove and replace. So when you break off from bad habits, you fill it up with good habits. What are those bad habits you have? Take it out and fill them up with good habits. We all know ourselves as parents. Take off the bad habits and fill it up with good habits. The third thing we need to do is to give scrupulous attention to the duty of the present moment. We need to be present in the present as parents. Most times we are not present in the present. Most times we are present but we are pressing our phones. Most times we are present but our minds are absent. Most times we are present but we are not present with our children. We are not present with our husbands. We are not present with our wives. We are not present with the people we are present with. So one of the things we can begin to do to train our will is to be present in the moment. When we are here, we should be here 100%. When you're with your child, even if you're spending 5 minutes with your child, be present and be present. Then the fourth thing which we can begin to do is to do vigorously and at once whatever has to be done. What are those things we need to do? What are those things we've set out to do? Our goals, our dreams, our visions. We need to start to do them. Then the other thing we need to do is to live by the rule. What are those rules we've set for ourselves? What are those rules that guide our lives as parents? What are our values? What are those things that hold us to high esteem? We need to start to do that to train our will to make us to be better parents, to make us to improve, improve our life generally, then we need to control our tongue. We should we need to control our tongue as parents. Even the Bible said, in the tongue lies the power of life and death. So it's very important that we as parents control our tongue. Most times, a lot of us as parents, what we say to our children out of frustration, sometimes when we sit back, we begin to feel, oh my God, we feel bad about it. So it's good we are aware that we need to control our tongue. We have the power to bless our children. So why we have the power to bless and we have the power to curse. So why don't we use our tongue for the good to bless our children? We have that power. We have everything within us. We should control our tongue. We should use our tongue for the right things. Rather we use our tongue for curse or to say things that are not right. Why don't we use our tongue to bless people, to bless our children, to bless everything, to bless our future, to bless what we want to do? So we need to tame our tongue. We need to control our tongue, because in the tongue lies the power of life and death. And the last one is to control our minds. That is the essence of this conversation. We've been studying this book, we've been reading this book for the past for this month. The whole essence is to control our minds. What do we allow to go into our minds? And as I did say earlier, some of the ways we can control our minds is to watch the voices we listen to. Voices are vehicles. What voices are you hearing? What voices are you allowing to speak to you on a daily basis? Because somehow we become what we listen to. We become who we watch. Who are you watching? Who are your role models? Who are your mentors? Because as you see, you become. Even the Bible said it. As you see, you become. So we need to control our minds. Control what goes in there. What are you reading? What books do you read? What are you studying? Oh, I can see Mrs. Anne. Oh, welcome. Thank you, ma, for joining us. What books are you reading? What are you filling your time with? What are you filling your spare time with? The truth is that it's our duty and our responsibility as parents to control our mind. It's our responsibility to control what goes into our mind. No one has that responsibility. No one has that response. So we need to take charge of our minds and watch what goes into our mind. Watch the voices you listen to. Watch the people you follow. Watch everything. Just watch everything you allow to come into you, because they are very important. Because the voices and whatever we allow to come into us has a way of affecting every other thing around us. And it's very important we pay close attention to that, because if we must succeed as parents, if we must raise world changers, if we must be renewed, if we must succeed in everything we need to do, we need to pay close attention to what we allow to go through or to come into our minds. So thank you very much for joining me for this book review. I really appreciate your time, and I do not take your time for granted. Please remember to pre-order my upcoming book, Becoming a Renewed Parent. I'll drop the link in the community for us to pre-order. So quickly, we'll just take like few minutes break, and I'm going to log in for our weekly webinar. We have to do what we have to do. So thank you. I'm going to log out, and I'll log in just few minutes for our weekly webinar. Thank you for joining me, and I really do appreciate your time. Thank you.